Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Daily Cannon Tactics Board. This week, we bring you coverage of Arsenal's 2-1 win over Wolves, who took more time to make a substitution than I am right now doing this. Introduction. And whilst I can joke about it now, you should have seen some of us in the pub Thursday night when we were watching this because we were screaming, and I'm sure ye was screaming as well. But some artistic license being taken with some of the time wasting done by Wolves in that game. But ho hum, over the next 10-15 minutes or so, I'll show you how Arsenal were able to finally blow down. They huffed and they puffed and they blew down the Wolves' door, which is not how the nursery rhyme goes, but it's how this game went. Arsenal, like I said, they tried and they tried and they finally got through. And it's interesting that they didn't really change much. They just had to change a little thing, and I'll show you exactly what they changed. Over the next 10-15 minutes, if you do like this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you did see something that I missed, feel free to comment down below. A fantastic community of very engaged Arsenal fans and football fans as a whole love talking below about the game below. Sorry it's a little late. You're going to see this on Sunday afternoon. It's currently 20-1 on Saturday night because I'm hosting the local sports show here for 3 counties on midlands103.com. If you fancy tuning in 2 to 6 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, 4 hours of local sport and talk about the sporting world, hosted by me. So yeah, a lot of work to get prepared for that, and this is the first time I've been able to find basically half an hour so I can get this all set up. So apologies for that, but yeah, if we go straight into the game, and the thing about this game is that it sets up exactly like the Brentford game did last week, where I was showing you how basically Brentford had this pentagon, and they would press like that, and if this moved, this moved, this moved, this moved, this moved, etc. And Wolves set up in the same kind of formation, but they don't press. What Wolves do is slightly different, and it's basically to cover up the fact that Neves isn't the greatest athlete in the world. I mean, he's slightly quicker than Xhaka, which isn't a compliment, and Moutinho is slower than Xhaka, which is definitely not a compliment. And as a result, they need to get the ball from midfield to the front quickly because they can't really trust Moutinho and Neves to be box to box. So, despite getting a lot of the ball in around here, Wolves find themselves having to play long balls down to Podence, down to Hwang Hee-chan, and down to Jimenez as quickly as possible, so that if these three get a chance, it just gives these two time and their wingbacks time to basically catch up with play. The difference between the Wolves game at Molineux a couple of weeks ago and this Wolves game, though, was the wingbacks. Because a couple of weeks ago, they played defensive wingbacks, basically in order to try and keep it 0-0. In this game, they picked their most attacking wingbacks in Ait Nouri and Nelson Semedo, and as a result, it just gave Arsenal a bit more room to work in, because Nouri is a winger masquerading as a wingback. He's a great talent, but his attacking is certainly better than his defending, and Nelson Semedo is a right mid. Like Barcelona tried to convert him into right back, didn't work, and somehow got Wolves to pay 30 million for him. Like, he's good going forward, but not that good, and defensive, he's just a liability. So, as a result, Podence and Hwang found themselves basically covering almost as auxiliary wingbacks, that's easy for me to say, whilst Kilman and Saiss and Cody try to push up. The problem, though, is that with them two here, and Tierney and Cedric basically keeping them occupied, what you have now is Xhaka, Partey, and Odegaard versus Neves and Moutinho. It's 3-on-2. And what Arsenal did to exploit that as much as possible was they pushed Xhaka out nice and wide and Odegaard out nice and wide. And now you might think, well, he's just going into them, but excuse me. If Aït-Nouri takes Odegaard, now Saka's one-on-one with Saiss, and you don't want that. If Semedo takes Xhaka, well, now Martinelli's one-on-one with Kilman, and you don't want that. And you certainly don't want this. You don't want them taking him, because then look how deep you are. And so when Neves trying to cover this space, Moutinho trying to cover this space, and basically 3-on-3 here, I mean, I don't need to tell you how much room Partey has here. And look, maybe not so much luckily, but over the last few weeks, Partey has got more and more into trying to get involved with play. He's not sitting back. And because Xhaka is so far left and Odegaard so far right, if we go to our good friend the heat board, we see Xhaka all the way out there, all the way out on the left. We see Odegaard, not all the way out on the right, but in his usual right attacking midfield place. Look, there's Partey. Right bang in the middle. Not here, here. Because he was able to push forward. And what it did was, it just allowed him to try and find Lacazette, who would then try and drag Cody out. Saiss and Kilman would cover to make the space, and suddenly these balls are on all day. And that's what Arsenal were doing. But if Moutinho went back and Neves went back and Semedo went back, what Arsenal were able to do was make sure that if Wolves started to try and close up and push Arsenal into space, Xhaka would immediately give it to Partey and back to Odegaard, and suddenly half the Wolves' defence is over here. So Wolves would have to come back, and back they would come, and back they would come, and back they would come, and suddenly Arsenal would say, right, okay, we've now got 3-on-2 here. You know, if Neves came over too far, suddenly Xhaka's gone wide, Podence is left wing, and now Tierney's gone on, and it's 3-on-2 this way. And what I mean by this is that Arsenal didn't dwell on the ball here, a little bit here, but this was with Saka trying to beat Aït-Nouri and Romain Saiss when he came forward. But as you can see, there's no quote-unquote U-shape. There's none of this. Because the ball doesn't stick here and the ball doesn't stick here. In fact, you can even see it goes in here a bit, it goes in here a bit. It's getting spread around all over the place. Because Wolves couldn't handle the fact that Martinelli was going wide and Kilman was going here. Because Semedo was trying to cover Tierney and Xhaka. And Neves was trying to come here. Lacazette was doing his usual job of dragging the fullback, the centre back out in Connor Cody, and as a result, there was just players running around, going, "Do I go here? Do I go here? Do I step back?" And if Cody basically comes back, then it's now you've got this. With Cedric also joining in, Saka getting in here, Martinelli getting in here, Tierney bombing on, Cedric bombing on, and now you're like, uh-oh, give me Cedric. There we go. Look how far Wolves are getting pushed back, and they don't want this because they don't want these two midfielders to be doing all this shuttling work over there because they're not quick enough to do it. And Arsenal were able to get in these spots especially. You know, we talked about half spaces. Even with a back five, you can still get in here and here at times. And what Arsenal were able to do was get in here and here again and again. Like I said, you can see, look, here and here. They were able to get in those areas. Problem was they weren't scoring. You know, like it was just they were getting shot after shot, but Wolves were just able to get enough bodies back in the nick of time. You know, Cody especially. You know, he is a specialist for playing in five at the back, and when he's just allowed to sit there like this, he's okay. But Saka was able to find Lacazette in here. He was able to find Martinelli here. Tierney was able to get in crosses. The only thing that was maybe lacking a little bit, especially in the first half, was the fact that Xhaka and Odegaard weren't running past. You know, when Lacazette was coming and Cody was going with him, with Semedo, with these all, you know, Basically, you want Odegaard to take advantage of the fact that Moutinho is not the quickest, and you want Xhaka to take advantage of the fact that Neves isn't the quickest and bomb in here, so that Partey can play balls over the top. It's stuff like that that wasn't working in the first half. It was working kind of, but just not getting that absolute clear-cut opportunity. As for Wolves, I mean, like I said, the goal they got was a gift, and I kind of, not that I feel sorry for Gabriel in a way, but like, and I can't move Ramsdale at the moment, but I'll put White here and you'll know what I mean. Like, obviously, I know Hwang scores from here, but we'll say he's here. When Gabriel is here, you can see Arteta on the sideline roaring at him, going, goalkeeper, goalkeeper, give it to the goalkeeper. And he does, sort of, but he also sees Ben White kind of open and he goes, that might be the better option, it's probably the easier option as well. Fair enough, I'll turn around. And he didn't make up his mind. He didn't have any, not any confidence, but he just didn't have any decisiveness there. Just for a moment, it was like, maybe White, maybe Ramsdale, and he didn't commit. And what he did was he put it exactly in the middle. And if he'd missed by 6 inches, it would have went to White, no problem, or Ramsdale, no problem. But because it went in the middle, there was that second of doubt between White and Ramsdale as to whose ball it was. And they both left it. And it just takes that 1 second for Hwang to go yoink around the goalkeeper and 1-0. And after seeing the Wolves game 2 weeks ago where Arsenal scored first and then shut up shop, and seeing how Wolves have made almost an art form of scoring first and winning 1-0, it was very easy to become worried about the fact that we've just given them 1 goal and now they're just going to sit back. But they weren't able to, just because their wing backs weren't able to help defensively enough. They were left exposed, especially down the wings. And for 70 minutes, Arsenal had a couple of decent chances, but again, nothing clear cut, nothing that would make you think that, oh my god, they're absolutely going to score. They've missed an absolute sitter. And so Arteta made a couple of substitutions. First one he did, he took off Martinelli for Pepe. Just so basically Saka could have a run at Kilman and then put Pepe right wing. Just because, just change something. Like, Martinelli didn't have a particularly bad game, but I suppose the idea is Saka can get easier inside on his left foot and then put crosses in for Lacazette and maybe Pepe, who likes to sit out here when the ball is back here, but certainly likes to cut in a bit more than Saka does. But the key change was Cedric for Nketiah, and it's the key change for one reason, but it's not the reason you think, because you're all thinking now, right, okay, Arsenal have gone 3-3-4, they put another man in the box, and those half chances that were falling before were eventually going to find their way to someone. And the answer is no, because whilst Arsenal were creating chances, they weren't really building pressure on Wolves just because Wolves were doing so well and wasting time. There was no 10-15 minute relentless pressure being built up like there was in the Brentford game, just because they beat 3-4 minutes and then suddenly Moutinho go down with cramp, Jimenez would go down with cramp, someone would go down, Semedo, the poor lad, it was almost his turn to go down with cramp and he actually tore his hamstring. And, everyone was like, oh, it's his turn. He's like, no, I'm actually hurt. Sorry, no, I'm actually hurt. No, it's not cramp, I promise. This actually hurts. Can I get helped off, please? But what this formation did for Arsenal was, if we go back to when they were out of form, we'll just put Nketiah back here for a second. There he is. When Tierney was bombing up in the pitch, and when this was Cedric, Arsenal were often left 3v2, and as a result, Partey was just a little bit hesitant. He was coming here for the ball, but he wasn't bombing forward, because Gabriel was sticking to Jimenez. And as you can see, if, let's say, the ball goes to Cody and Lacazette doesn't get it, if Cody can get the side, suddenly it's 3-on-2. And what Wolves really do well is they get balls like this and it's just ping, ping, ping out. or ping, ping, ping. They love these little ball round the corner. Like one touch, one touch, one touch, bang. They love that. And fortunately for a lot of teams, once they get the ball here, they don't really do a lot with it. But the amount of times they did have 3-on-2s and 3-on-3s, or should I even say 4-on-3s at time, was scary. They just wasted them. You know, Cedric was able to get back in time. Tierney was able to get back in time. Xhaka had one of his best games in ages, to be fair. It was getting back party, and they were coping. But when they went to 3-3-4, we'll put Cody here and we'll take off that arrow because that always annoys me. Gabriel went to centre back. Tierney went to left back, and White went to right back. And they went to 3. And now suddenly there's no spare man. And now you're thinking, well, they're still going to have fullbacks. Yeah, but if they're going to have fullbacks, then thank you very much. Because now it's 3-on-4. You know, if the fullbacks don't want to defend, happy days. And even then, if the fullbacks still go back, now it's 3-on-2 again. This little pattern here. So what Arsenal were able to do were almost cause Wolves to malfunction in a way, because now Jimenez is coming back, and now Hwang Chan is coming back, and now Podence is coming back, and it's like, well, now there's no one. So now Tierney can push forward, and now White can come forward, and now instead of it being 7-on-7, now it's basically, you know, you've almost got this scenario going with Partey going deep, Xhaka going here, Odegaard going here, and you've got this going. Now, I don't want to defend that. You know, I don't want to defend that with you know, two wing backs who are attacking. So that's what Wolves did. They took off Semedo and brought on Johnny, but Johnny's a left back. And what happened basically was Wolves were caught by Arsenal's speed of movement, because what Arsenal were able to do was drag them all the way over here, get them moving, and then Partey would push forward. Jimenez was being occupied, so Partey was always free. Get it to Odegaard, and then they went from there. And it's little things like that where you've got movement coming around, where Saiss is caught, Cody's trying to mark Lacazette, and then all of a sudden Nketiah is trying to go back post, so Saiss goes there, Lacazette goes there, Cody goes there, and Pepe is now free. And it's a great finish, and it's 1-1, and you're like, well, they're not going to try that again, are they? And they did, except it was the other way around. It's the same goal twice, except Lacazette, instead of turning this way, he turns that way and puts the ball in, and Saka's going to get to the far post first, and he crosses it, and Jose Sa gets a hand to it, and it goes into the back of the net, and it's 2-1. It's just a case of Arsenal keeping going and not stopping, and continually attacking these half spaces between the centre backs that Wolves' midfield weren't able to hold, because Wolves' fullbacks, with their wing backs, weren't tracking back enough. They weren't disciplined enough. They were giving too much space in and around here. They were giving Neves and Moutinho too much work to do. And it took 95.5 minutes, but Arsenal finally got the result they deserved. And like, everyone will look at this. Everyone will see 26 total shots and 2.77 goals. I see 2 big chances. So Arsenal did knock the door a hell of a lot of times, but it was only when they went to this 3-3-4 and they were able to get basically another body upfield, because Wolves' wingbacks weren't doing enough defending, so that their forwards had to go back, which meant everyone had somewhere to be. But Wolves just basically couldn't keep track of the numbers. It was as simple as that. There was enough movement in the Arsenal team, like we've seen with Manchester City, where at times Lacazette would be here and Ketty would drop back and it'd be Xhaka at the top. And if Xhaka had a yard extra pace, he'd be perfect for this team. Perfect for this number 8 role if he was just able to keep up a little bit more, but he doesn't, and we're living with it. But yeah, 24-year-old Xhaka might be perfect for this side. I'm not sure about 29-year-old Xhaka, but everyone's talking about getting in a number 9 for this team. If you were to ask me, do I want a top number 9 or a top number 8? I think my money's on the latter. Anyway, that's my roundup of Arsenal versus Wolves Thursday night. If you did enjoy the video, again, feel free to leave a like. All support like that, every little helps. It's all numbers. It's all all goes into the algorithm, etc., etc. And if you do want these videos in your inbox on a regular basis, hit subscribe, hit the little the bell, and you'll be notified eventually when these videos goes up. Like I said, hopefully in the near future we'll be able to get these out the day or the day after. It's just full-time job, etc., etc. But yeah, Arsenal 5th in the league, 2 points behind Manchester United and 3 games in hand. I'll settle for that. Cheers.